Okay, we're going to start this interview. This is one of the interviews for the Legacy Project Aiden Chronicles, and we're here with Sir Denis of the Titans, and we're just going to have him introduce himself, and then we're going to start asking some questions.
All right, I am Count Denis of the Titans, 11th King of Atenveld. I'm a Knight of the Society, Master of the Pelican, Premier Pelican for Atenveld.
How long have you been in the SCA?
47 and a half years. I joined at March Crown in 1971. The one that Arthur won first.
You remember what your first event was?
My first event was that March Crown.
Tournament.
March 1971, finals of Robert Round Pounder and Arthur Blockhaven, and I was hooked. That was on a Sunday, and I was at fighter practice on Thursday, starting to learn to fight.
Did they have like a site or an event steward then, or an autocrat at that point? No, they just kind of did it.
Yeah. Put it together, made sure everything was there.
So everybody took their hand in helping make sure it happened. When did you get your AOA?
My AOA came in January of 1974 from Robert Round Pounder.
Oh, wow.
That took a little time. It happens that way sometimes.
Yeah. Well, this is kind of going backwards now, but do you remember the first crown tourney?
Oh, the first crown tourney was amazing. That's what hooked me. It was our second crown. Richard Ironsteed and Felicia were sitting the throne. We were at Biltmore Fashion Park. And I showed up, and it's already going, and it's amazing. And watching the finals in particular, seeing Sir Edward Slackler Fessica knighted, seeing a knighting happen, was just magic.
Do you remember the first event you autocrated or was a steward of?
First event I was a steward of or autocrated, I did it with William of the Shires, who was the guild master at the time, and the guild fed the kingdom. Oh. So I cooked feast and helped run the event.
Remember your first officer position?
My first officer position was Coronet, Field Herald. My second was Local Marshal. There were a lot more after that.
Yeah. Do you remember a baronial out of the many, the baronial investitures that was special to you? It's hard to pick.
I don't know. Jerry and Yoshi's was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And they were a good baron and baroness.
When was that?
That was in the 80s. That's so long ago. So that would be Jerry the Inverter and Yoshi.
Do you remember the first coronation you attended?
First coronation, yes. Arthur Blockhaven and Sarah de Rosamond. I think it was June 6, 1971. We had people come all the way from Alberon. It was pretty amazing. First time we'd had distant visitors in.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
How did you choose your heraldry?
I joined the society with the help of Sarah de Rosamond, but more importantly, a man who was already my friend, Joe Bethencourt, Iosif of Loxley, who was also Ayton Principal Herald at the time, and helped me design a very simple device that the College of Arms didn't think could be passed because they thought all the lions had been used. Well, Joe figured out that if you make it per pale, no, it hadn't been used. He drew it up, I loved it, and just for a historical reference, you know how long it takes to get a badge passed now or a device passed? It was submitted in May and passed in August of 1971. The only comment was from Randall of Hightower, Laurel King at Arms, who said, "Why didn't I think of that?"
That's cool. Do you remember, is there a specific demo that sticks out in your mind that you did?
Summer of 71, Ivanov von Schloss, Karl John Off, was a probation officer, and he worked down at juvenile detention on Durango. And he'd promised the boys a demo. Yeah, it was 105 degrees. We still fought for an hour and a half and helped all the kids line up to fight him.
Oh, wow.
That was an amazing demo. The only other thing I could say would compare just in being cool was when the Firebird Festival of the Arts was held at the Phoenix Library. We would do a 3-day demo there, and it was so much fun.
Yeah. Can you think of one out of the many, probably memory from an Australia war, from a Australia war.
Can we go all the way back to Burrow Creek?
Oh yes, please.
I started that war with the help of Paula Bellatrix. But for the first war, we had no idea who would show up, how many people would come. So I stood at the bottom of the hill at Burrow Creek and greeted every car that came in and saw so many friends and people I didn't know. It was the only war where there were more fighters than there were observers. The next year, everybody brought their families.
Yeah.
But I just can't top that.
Yeah. Do you remember, is there a feast that sticks out in your mind? The food, the ambience, and the people that you can remember? One?
Again, going back to that first one I stewarded,
Yeah.
my father was a butcher. He got us a whole pig, and we cooked pig, and we cooked chicken. And while it was early SCA, we turned out some really, really good food. And William of the Shires and the Guild brewed 2 kegs of mead, which was served with the feast.
Right.
So it was quite a feast.
Is there, can you tell us about at least someone that you met in the SCA that's very special to you?
That's easy.
Yeah.
His name is Kelly McRae. We know him as Duke Deaton Claymore. I know him as my little brother. Short story. In 1972, I was at fighter practice, and John and Rick said they were going to bring me out this guy to fight because neither one of them could beat him. He'd broken 5 swords on Reynard's head. So they come out with this guy, nice guy, and I'm fighting greatsword, and I'm Scottish. I've always wanted to fight with one of those. I had 2. Broke his shoulder, and we've been friends ever since.
Wow.
We did so many things together. He followed me into the Crusadines. I went to the West, taught him everything I could bring back. We finaled against each other in Crown twice, and we are brothers. We are the best of friends from then to now. I miss him because he's not here, but Kelly McRae is at the top of that list.
Can you pick an award that you received that's special to you?
The Pelican caught me completely out of left field. I didn't expect it. But the one that hit me the hardest was Lion of Atenbelt. Brian Tarragon was king, and I was standing court, and they started to read the history of the lion. And I started daydreaming, one of those, someday, maybe someday. And the herald leans over and says, "That's your name." Just blew me away. And still, Lion of Atenbelt, Defender of the Dream, and they gave that to me.
Do you have any advice for someone who just found the SCA and you wish someone had told you on your first day?
Read the rules, have fun, and find what you love in it, because there's so much to love. I was lucky. I mean, the fighting was great, but I had a theater background too, so from stage managing to autocratic stewarding, it's not that far. My dad was a butcher and both my parents were good cooks, so doing feasts was just another thing. So if you're new coming to the society, look around, find what really appeals to you, and then jump in.
Why do you continue to play in the SCA?
Because I love it. I've been doing this for 47 and a half years, since March of 1971. It's had its ups and downs, but I love it. You can't find this anywhere else.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate your time.
Certainly.